Chris, how are things with you, and what are your initial thoughts of Billy Napier parting ways with the Florida Gators?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a matter of time. I don't think it was a matter of if, but when. And a lot of fans had gotten to the point where they were ready to move on. I think a lot of times with these situations, things can become toxic to a point that it's untenable. And I thought Scott Strickland had to make a move. I think yesterday or Saturday's game against Mississippi State kind of encapsulated what the whole tenure of his time in Gainesville has been. It's been moments of looking really good. It's having feelings of being capable of so much more, but yet, not ever feeling like you can get away from the inevitable other shoe dropping where something's going to happen to prevent you from maybe pulling off a big upset or getting some of those wins that you need to be a legitimate college football playoff team. And I think when you look around the country, look around the conference, look what Vanderbilt's doing, look at what Indiana's doing in the Big Ten. That precipitated the firing of James Franklin as well. If other schools like that can do it, Florida, Penn State, the major schools that have the major booster commitments can do it. And I think the time for patience is up, and that was the case in Gainesville.
Chris, you are there and you live in Gainesville. You have seen this, and especially being a Florida alum, why did the Billy Napier experiment not work out at Florida, in your opinion?
I think this is a coach that was beloved by his players. Had done a great job of recruiting a really talented roster. The fact that you've seen glimpses of what they can do within games, and even pulling off a victory like they did a couple weeks ago against Texas. Those things, while being great, are also indictments of if you're capable of doing this, why don't you do it all the time? And I think the lack of development of some of the top players. I think at the end of the day, the stubbornness, the unwillingness to hand over the play calling duties. Florida fans were frustrated with offensive inconsistencies and the penalties that continue to be repeated over and over again. Disorganization on the sideline, mismanagement of late game situations. Those things all continued to be occurrences over and over again, to the point where Florida fans just were not willing to think that anything better was possible, and Scott Strickland obviously felt the same way.
You know that program like the back of your hand because you played there, you're an alum of there, and you were also in the Florida Georgia Football Hall of Fame in that game. Who do you feel like moving forward would be a good fit for Florida?
I think you have to have a guy that has had success at the highest level, a guy that's coached and won in the SEC. The days of being able to hire the next up and comer, that formula has not worked in recent hires for Florida. So I think it has to be somebody that has an established resume. I'm not going to, my job with the SEC network, I'm not going to call for one coach to leave one school in the SEC to go to another, but everybody knows the names that are being talked about right now. And I don't think you have the luxury on doing anything other than something that is going to get the fan base excited with both what they've done on their resume and what the style of football is. Winning at Florida is not enough. You have to win with a certain style, and that style is scoring points with a fun offense. And so, I think those are the type of things that Florida fans, or what Scott Strickland and the rest of the people charged with making this hire, will be looking for.